Hello, everyone. We are here for movie time because that's what we're going to be getting started on with this upcoming chapter. But first, we got to get to all the responses, questions, comments, and concerns from you guys concerning the last few chapters because we had some people playing catch up. We got like 11 reviews to get through today, so
all right.
Let's see what we got.
Silver 4700.
Good to see you again.
Cool. A new chapter of Your Hero Academia is out. Family. Alrighty, everybody. Let's get ready to move. Me. Oh, okay. Shouldn't take that long to move. 2-3 weeks tops. 2 months later. Me. Finally finished the moving process. Wow, there are 3 whole chapters out now. Ha! Meant to read and review sooner, but moving to a new place takes significantly longer than expected. Regardless, let's get down to the review. The beach episode. It was good. Just a lot of fluff, as I kind of expected, but seeing a bit of development on Todoroki's end, even if it was only a little. It was still interesting to read about. Not that much to say about it specifically, though. The internship arc. Well-paced, and it was interesting to see how you wrote the entire sequence with Gang Orca, with it more or less acting as a foil/mirror to Ida and his whole situation.
That was kind of the idea, yeah.
The way you handled Orca himself made me feel like he was just a lot like Odin from Marvel specifically. Speaking of which, meme time, the only cure for sadness.
On the Odin thing, I don't know how to, like, that is, I hope you're meaning that in a good way, because a lot of people that, like, a lot of forums that I see on the internet is like, Odin is not favored, like, especially in the MCU. I mean...
But, I mean, it's like this stoic character who knows what he's about. Like, I could see that.
Okay, alright, yeah.
Alright, so, meme time. Needle Mouse talks about what the kid can do to defeat him.
This is in Japanese. I don't really know.
Kurai, omae wa mu shinderu. Needle Mouse, nani? Loud noises, bang of light, and his head is smashed in.
That sounds like a line / interaction from Hellsing Ultimate Abridged. I'm going to assume that's what you're referencing. I mean, yeah.
Cool.
Cool.
Somebody will get it.
Somebody will. I hope somebody gets. I'm sorry, man. That one went over my head for the most part.
Also, this is small, but I really like how you didn't try to rewrite or include the entire Hosu scene. It's just something you can't rewrite, and at least I think so. Was honestly worried about that coming up, but the fact that you deal with more of the repercussions rather than the actual act itself is really cool, and it's still playing out.
It's gonna keep playing out, and I try, like with fan fictions, one of the things I always try to do is I try to avoid messing with what I already consider to be a perfect scene, and Ida, Deku, and Todoroki versus Stain was it's still one of my favorite moments in the entire series, and I really didn't want to mess with it. And I didn't think that Kurai had anything extra that he could contribute to that scene, so I decided to give him his own arc. And I felt like it was time for him to kind of like step away from the main gang. It seems like people liked it pretty well.
Also, the store called. I tried using my store credit and was met with some sarcastic person who kept creatively insulting me while advertising something called CARF. Don't know what that is, but it sounds like a horrible acronym.
And they will never use it again. Now that reference I got.
Lastly, the entire bit with Yaoyorozu. Kind of expected something along those lines, and it was handled pretty well. I got nothing else to really say on that.
I'm surprised that so many people assume that she was crushing on him.
Yeah.
Like that was because I'd already planned everything out in advance, and I was like, I wasn't meaning to give off that impression, but okay, I'll run with it.
Anyways, here's looking forward to the next few chapters. Good luck, my friend. I would normally say something witty at the end of a review like this, but I got nothing. That's sad.
That's where we have something witty entertainment for, dude. But I'm glad to see you back.
Yeah, thank you. All right, so Okamudakaheim 1.
That looks like a random name generation.
Okamudakaheim 1. Okay, cool.
You're new. Welcome.
Nice.
I'm glad to see you here.
Maybe a bit, maybe a lot, but I said some things that were kind of out of line when we fought. Did he just rhyme rap like Killer Bee?
If he did, it was not intentional.
I love it.
I just got that Steam was having a flash sale on some Naruto stuff the other day, so I bought that game, Shinobi Striker kind of thing, and this looks kind of fun. And I got all excited because I got B's daggers off of a random item drop.
He's
so I was just yes. We actually just finished the we actually just finished the 4th Ninja War arc last night, so we're coming up on the end of the series.
Bro, that show just hits different when you're a parent and a teacher.
And you're
like,
both.
Oh, the feels, you guys. You think Naruto's good now? Watch it when you're parents. Okay, sorry. Thank you for your review.
Yes.
One. Guest. Have Akurui and Melissa get into an argument about who's going to be the next David Shield. That would be hilarious.
I mean,
I see it. I see it.
I don't, because like, okay, here's how awkward it is. Like, yes, he knows he's the smartest person in the room, but he's not above learning from people that he respects.
Yeah,
David Shield's one of those people. If he got into an argument with David Shield's daughter, that is not going to increase his chances of learning from David Shield, which is probably his goal.
He's not exactly the most socially aware individual in the world.
No, but I still feel like he's smart enough to know that
it's not an actual argument. It's just supposed to be funny.
Oh, okay.
They're two uber nerds nerding out. That's what happens when uber geeks geek out about something together. They will finally find something that they don't completely agree on, and then it gets heated. Doesn't mean they hate each other. That's just how geeks are.
Okay. All right.
Look at you and Chris on Star Wars.
We argue about movies and stuff, not who's going to be the next what now.
Honey, it's the same thing. You're geeking out over something that you care about.
Oh, okay. I don't see it.
It's not. All right. Guest. Dang, I was hoping that Kurai would meet Tomura Shigaraki with Izuku here. You'd better make it so that Kurai meets David Shields to both find out what he did, and because it would be really exciting.
I mean, you'll have to wait a little bit to find out if he does meet him or not.
But the
Shigaraki thing, again, there wasn't really much that Kurai could contribute to that. There's also the fact that I think, from what I know of Shigaraki, if he had seen Deku and Kurai out in public together, he probably wouldn't have approached either one of them. In the original series, he approaches Deku because he's alone. He's by himself. There's also the fact that it was a freak accident that they happened to run into each other. Shigaraki wasn't trying to follow him or anything.
He just happened to be there at the same time.
He is shrewd enough, I think, that if he knows that if he tried to grab one of them, the other one's going to dust him. Like, hero license or not. Because
it was just a really unique situation.
Yeah, and again, Kurai didn't, like, if Kurai had been captured, I mean, Shigaraki hates Kurai. Like, I know I haven't shown that on screen, but he hates this guy. Like, Kurai, like, decked him halfway across the USJ after he powered up, almost killed the Nomu, beat the stuffing out of Kurogiri, too. Shigaraki has a lot of cause to hate Kurai almost as much as Deku. But there just wasn't anything that he could have done to make that situation different or added to it. So I just decided it would be better if I left it as it was in the original.
All right. And then we'll see what happens with the other part. All right, Fairy Sing Girl. Well, I'm glad Kurai managed to restrain himself from acting on impulse to get revenge for his uncle. As for holding grudges and wanting revenge isn't what a hero would do, and not to mention his uncle wouldn't want him to follow that.
Yeah.
Also, I like how he ended up being interviewed with Gang Orca afterward. I liked that part too.
I was surprised at how many people actually liked that.
It was really solid.
Okay.
Ha! And Bakugo getting laughed at for his hair being perfectly groomed was funny, and it wasn't like he could help that though, since he ended up interning with Best Jeanist. Now, I wonder how will Kurai handle Ida's situation?
Not well.
Oh, here we go. Well, here's the next review.
All right.
Oh, Fairy Sing Girl. Oh dear, things have gotten really tense between Kurai and Ida after the sparring match where Kurai got him to spill about what happened in Hosu. But it's obvious that Ida wants to atone for letting revenge cloud his judgment. I just hope Kurai will eventually come around to forgiving him. On a lighter note, I'm glad to see that Kurai managed to clear things up with Yaoyorozu and become friends. I wonder how they'll both do against Aizawa in their exam. Ha! And Kurai's joke at the end there was really funny when he said that about that some weirdo with a chunk of pink rubber for a head, which he and Yaoyorozu had a good laugh at.
I mean, when I first heard the name Eraserhead, that was the image that came to my head. I understand now that it's a reference to like a really old film, like black and white old, that the creator of the series really likes. But I had no context for that, so that was just the first thing that came to my head. I decided to make a joke out of it here.
Nice. Yeah, I'm trying to see if there's anything else to address in that review. Clearing things up with Yaoyorozu. Yeah, a lot of people seemed like there were like mixed feelings about how it worked.
Yeah.
All right. Joe Clone.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
Great one. Kurai still got it despite the last chapter. Pretty much went how I expected his final to go. But Momo got her chance to shine too, which I enjoyed immensely. I love their back and forth when it comes to strategizing and taking down Aizawa Sensei. It's not easy. How do you come up with how the fight would go down? I ask because there was no use of caltrops here from Eraserhead like the original. Simply no need for them, I guess?
Yeah, you're guessing correctly. I mean, the only time, so Yairozu doesn't have an ability to jump super high, nor would she incorporate it into her fighting abilities, except for basically that one time where Todoroki tried to freeze all of them, she like pole vaulted basically. But in this situation, but like against Aizawa, that's not gonna help them. I mean, leaving yourself out in the air, that just makes you an easier target for his capture scarf. And the only time that Kurai jumps up really high is when he's about to waste everything underneath him. He's not in a situation where he can do that because he's in an urban setting. So if he lets loose, he's gonna blow up a block. Is what's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
So he's more than likely gonna stay on the ground. Aizawa knows this. I'm sure he had the caltrops on him just in case he needed them. But no, I don't think like neither Kurai nor Yairozu's fighting style lends itself to the idea that he would need to use that kind of trap. He's gonna have to deal with them more directly, which is what he ended up doing.
All right. So, Mirai's ship is raising its flags. That scene talking about how Mina would be as a mother was adorable and soft. There's that mozzarella level I was looking for. My grin was ear to ear reading that.
Yeah.
Really cool moment with Kirishima here. Always bro till the end, calling Kurai out on treating Ida the way he was very cathartic in terms of, I can only describe it as, dude, that's messed up. Are you okay? Do you need a hug or a gut punch? We all have those friends. It's that kind of feeling, in which case I can understand why Kurai doesn't want to deal with right now. Woot woot, Island time. This is going to be awesome. Hold the phone. You've got a plan for the story after Kai's death. Wait, of course you do. You wrote Fire Sword. Your OC died there too, and everything continued.
Yeah, I've forgotten about that, but because I was like, I'm going to do new things with this story. I've already done that. What have I done? It's okay. It's all right.
It's okay.
I'm going to make it work. It's good.
Woo! Woo!
Yeah, it will be different. It will be
rhyming.
different.
It's fine. Light Hero Kaiser, awful chapter mate.
What the?
Great chapter mate. Can't wait for more.
What?
I know. It changed it.
Oh, okay.
Can't wait for more. I know Kurai isn't going to die yet because he doesn't know about AFO yet. And
All for One.
All for One yet. And his dying words were about All for One. Also, I like how Kurai gave the tickets to Bakugo and Kirishima so that they can go. And that was really nice of him. I can see I don't start all reviews with the same chapter, do I?
Now I get it.
Silver 4700. Wow, I posted a review of the previous chapters, and the same day a new chapter comes up. What are the odds? Anyways, considering I basically just got out all of my thoughts regarding the previous 2 to 3 chapters, I honestly don't have much to say for this new one, mainly due to the fact that it's all fluff. I don't have a problem with that. Honestly, it's one of the things I find really interesting to read, if not for the fact that I find fluff personally hard to write.
You and me both, dude.
I guess all I can say is I really liked the interactions between Mina and Hikari, simply because the characters are fun and their interactions arguably more so. Who's ready for Die Hard, but with superheroes? Because I sure am.
Now, real quick, this uncultured swine has not seen. I've seen like 10 minutes of Die Hard, baby.
Come on, bro! It's the best Christmas movie ever.
And like that's when I saw. It was like on a random cable channel. I think it was like in your grandparents' house, and like Die Hard was on the TV in the background. I saw like 10 minutes of it. I was just like, "What is this?" I'm like, I see it's Bruce Willis, so it's probably Die Hard, but.
I love Bruce Willis. Okay. I loved the My Hero Academia movie, but I just found it funny how halfway through watching it, this was my reaction. Wait, giant tower? Terrorists holding party attendants hostage? Somebody systematically climbing to the top, making out and taking out terrorists?
Making out with terrorists. All right, that's new.
And taking out the terrorists. Sorry, I cannot read today. Check's voice cast. No, sadly, Alan Rickman isn't a voice. Movie came out too late. Rest in peace.
Who would Alan Rickman even voice in that movie? Like, I can't think of any characters that would suit his voice.
It seems your quirk is no longer at the level that it was. Sorry. I had to. All right. But seriously, I can't wait to see what you do with this movie and its overarching structure. I also found it interesting to a degree how you kind of glossed over the mall encounter. Again, I don't have a problem with it since it was mainly an interaction with Izuku rather than the entire class, but I don't know how to finish that sentence. It was interesting. Let's leave it at that. Anyways, that's all I have to say for now. Have a good one. Silver.
You too, man. Yeah, I kind of covered that topic already, so I guess we'll just move on to the next one. But thanks for both reviews.
Very same girls. So, it looks like Kurai and Yaoyorozu were able to meet Aizawa in their final exam. Ha! And the awkward moment with Kurai and Mina afterwards when he said that she would make a fun mom was funny. And now it seems they're getting ready for the trip to Island. I like how Kurai gave Hiroshima an extra ticket he had along with another one for him to give to Bakugo as well. You can't leave them out, man.
Nope. Gotta have Blast Team Explode in there.
Yeah, love Blast Team Explode. All right, Silly Kita, last but not least. Another
favorite.
Another solid chapter that I know I can always expect out of you. The fight with Eraserhead was actually more entertaining than I thought it was going to be. You've mentioned a few times that one of the things that you liked about My Hero Academia is the fact that the characters have to use their wits instead of relying on brute strength. And that was well done with this chapter in particular. If it were a question of raw power, Aizawa would have been toast, even if with his ability to nullify power of others. But you put Hikari in a position where going all out would have been detrimental to his and Yairozu's score. Glad to see them working together again, by the way. They make for a good team. The scene with Ashido and Hikari made me laugh and feel warm fuzzies at the same time, so good job there. Of course, I then remembered that the story is supposed to lead to Hikari's death, and now I'm bummed because I keep getting more attached to this character and the relationship because I know it can only end in tragedy. If I were in an anime, this would be the part where my irises vanish and I start crying buckets with a personal storm cloud hovered over me. That was weird. I'm sorry. It's okay. It's okay. That was me.
Oh man, you don't even
finishing Naruto.
You guys don't even know. You don't even know.
You know, I have to look at his outlines for these chapters and what he's planning to do, and it hurts me. It hurts me.
Oh man, I can't wait to see how these guys react.
Hiroshima being his usual man's man was nice to see. I feel like him and Elfman from Fairy Tail would get along pretty well. I agree.
Yes!
I always think of Elfman whenever Hiroshima's like, be a man. It's not manly. That's so manly. That's so Elfman.
Man, I hate that was such a manly exit.
All right. Now that I think about it. But that's a thought for another time. I rather enjoyed how he was clearly grateful for the chance to go to Island, but wasn't afraid to call Hikari out for being kind of a dingus.
That's a word I've not heard in a long time. Dingus.
At least he's not dismissing everyone, telling him out of hand. Maybe he will come around eventually.
We'll have to see.
Now, as for what's next. Movie time! I should go rewatch so I'm fresh on the details. I'm also very much looking forward to seeing more of the younger brother, as you've mentioned that we'll be getting to see him more in this next arc. His sass levels remind me of your writings in The Red Swordsman, so I'm interested in seeing that inserted into this particular group dynamic. Let's go at Islands.
She actually I was asking her about this the other day. She actually thinks that Akarui is more sassy than...
In some ways. I think it's more like that little brother sass.
Yeah.
It's just that much more irritating than anybody else.
Yeah.
And I love it. I think because it's coming from a 12-year-old, it's just more weighty. Because when you have the teenagers being sassy to each other, it's like, okay, yeah, whatever. They're teenagers. But when it's coming from a 12-year-old who knows he's smarter than everyone, it's just like young Sherlock happening. And it's great. It's great. I love it.
Yep. So she's excited for the next chapter because, you'll see why here in a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on the audio chapter, and we'll be back to discuss the behind the scenes after the fact. So be right back.
Island of Dreams. This is amazing! Akarui exclaimed as he spun in a circle, his wide purple eyes taking in every detail that he could possibly get as he looked about the moving city that was Island. This is going to be the best vacation in the history of ever! He, Kurai, and Mina had come to the high-security island for the annual expo that displayed the latest and greatest advances in quirk research and support for heroes and civilians both. They would be spending the first week of summer vacation on the island, after which Mina and Kurai had to return for their school's summer training camp. Since there were no quirk regulations on the city, Akarui was putting his quirk, solar intelligence, to maximum use, intent on absorbing as much information as he possibly could while the sun was up. As it was his goal to pursue a degree in the biomechanical field, the study of fusing mechanics and living tissue, he was very keen to gain insight on the accomplishment of the world's leading scientists. If we sneak away now, maybe we can get to the hotel before he notices that we're gone. Mina snickered in an aside to her boyfriend, who sighed and introduced his palm to his face. And just what would we do without him there? He asked in a dry tone. He was dressed up in his hero costume, complete with his scouter on his head and photon sword at his hip. I don't know, does this island have cable? Mina grinned. My house only gets local channels. Like her boyfriend, she was dressed in her hero outfit for the day. Since they were heroes in training, they were permitted to wear the equipment in unregulated places like Island, even without hero licenses. You're not fooling anybody with that excuse, Akarui said without looking at them, keeping his gaze fixed on a particularly tall tower. My brother's too chicken to do anything indecent, but I've got a number on the likelihood of the very hormonal teenage girl trying to jump him. Anyone want to take a guess at how likely it is on a scale of 1 to 100? Wow, that wasn't embarrassing at all, Kurai said in an irritated tone. Still, he was more or less used to comments like this during this time of day. His brother's quirk made him much more intelligent the more sunlight he was exposed to, and he had a habit of letting everyone around him know it. Is it smart-ass hour? Mina grumbled, also looking put off as a sly smile appeared on Akarui's face. Yeah, Kurai sighed. It's a really high number, the younger boy said as if he hadn't heard them. Kurai exhaled again, then unclipped his sword from his belt and smacked his brother on the head with the hilt. As the younger boy recoiled with a yelp, he said with a satisfied smile, Surely someone with your intellect would have seen that coming. I was busy, his brother complained. There are hundreds of facilities open to the public this week, so I need to narrow it down to an optimal number, factoring in my own interests, the hours that they're actually open, what the foot traffic will be before and after the expo is open to the public, not to mention how many times I'll have to stop you two from trying to sneak off. It's a lot to consider. You might have to factor in the number of times you'll be knocked unconscious if you keep making jokes like that, Kurai said with a flinty smile. No, I won't, Akarui said with a devilish smile as he patted his pocket where his phone was. At irregular intervals, I've got my email set up to send Mom and Dad a message saying that I caught you two in the act, and the only way to stop it is if I kill the email. Seeing as my password was set up during my smartass hour, as you put it, I doubt that either of you has the brain power to hack into it, even if you took the phone away from me. So basically, if I think you two are getting up to anything, I just have to wait for my phone to send that message, and then you two are both as dead as soon as we get home. Mina and Kurai glared at him for a few moments before she muttered, He'd be way less annoying if he was put up to this by your parents, wouldn't he? Yeah, he's definitely doing this of his own volition, Kurai grumbled. To his brother he said, You don't actually expect us to stay with you for the entire week, do you? I've got dirt on you too, remember? I am well aware of our mutually assured destruction. Akarui nodded as he gave them a thumbs up. So basically, I'm going to set up a few sensors in our hotel rooms, and if they get tripped or tampered with while I'm not there, the email gets sent. I'm reasonably confident that once you meet up with your friends, you'll be too busy having fun to get up to anything bad. Kurai nodded back as he replied, Fine, I can abide by that. Cool, then I'll get us checked into the hotel, Akarui said as he walked away. I'll meet you guys at David Shield's exhibit after lunch. Ah! Mina complained once he was gone. How'd we end up with a chaperone younger than us and more annoying than present Mike? Package deal, I guess. Kurai grinned slightly. You're gonna date me? You gotta be willing to put up with that monster. You're lucky you're cute, or else that would definitely be a deal breaker. Mina sighed as she leaned on his shoulder. Can we go get something to snack on? The plain food was actually good, but I feel like everything was elf-sized. Hey, Ochako! Mina exclaimed happily as she and Kurai walked up to their classmate, who was in a group with Jiro and Yayurozu. Everyone! What's hanging? The two UA students had decided to meet up with their friends at an exhibit that mostly featured the inventions of David Shield, Akarui's personal idol. There was all kinds of technology, from quirk reinforcements for heroes to advanced first aid for civilians. Hey, Ashino, the earphone jack girl answered as they turned around. Mina, Uraraka said cheerily as she exchanged a hug with her friend. I'm glad to see you guys. Turning to Kurai, she added, Hey, Hikari, are you excited about the expo? For sure, he replied with a grin before turning to Yayurozu. Good to see you. How was the flight coming in? As he did so, Mina and Ochako moved to the side and began to talk to one another in excited tones. Dude, I always thought that flying in a private jet was overhyped, but thanks to Yamomo, I don't think I can ever fly regular airlines again, Jiro told him with a small grin. Normally we fly the family plane for vacations, but this time we had to take the business jet since the other one is having some body work done, Momo said apologetically. I wish I had reminded Father to have the repairs done sooner. Private jet? Kurai repeated with mock offense. Why wasn't I invited? 3 words, pal, Jiro said before Momo could answer him. Ultimate bachelorette pad. Kurai raised an eyebrow and said, Really? Well, there's also the fact that the plane was filled to capacity with Yamamo's luggage, The smaller girl shrugged, causing her friend to flush with embarrassment. Like I said, normally we take the other jet, the creative heroine huffed. Kurai couldn't help but chuckle at that, but before he could make a reply, he found his arm being yanked out of its socket by Mina, who had a huge grin on her face. Dude, you gotta see this. She giggled as she pointed excitedly toward an exhibit that featured some underwater equipment. At first, the boy only saw a high-speed submersible airplane, and he wondered why his girlfriend was getting so excited about it. She only gets excited about that stuff when it's in a movie, not a... Oh. When his gaze lowered, he realized that what she was getting so worked up about. Midoriya, decked out in his hero costume, was chatting with an older blonde girl in front of the exhibit, while Uraraka looked on with a stricken expression. Dude, check your six! He mentally shouted at his friend. He'd suspected for some time that Uraraka had a thing for his friend, but it seemed like a jealousy fit would pretty much prove the idea. Before Midoriya could realize anyone was there, Uraraka walked up behind him and said in a strangely stilted voice, Looks like you're having fun, Deku. Uraraka! The boy yelled, drawing the attention of his blonde companion, and lending the other students a better look at her. But when did you get here? It looks like you're having fun, Uraraka repeated. You said that, Midoriya replied, looking incredibly bewildered and flustered. Hey man, Kurai said as he walked up to his friend for a quick handshake. I didn't know you were bringing a guest to the expo. What? No, that's not it, the other boy stammered. Indicating the girl standing next to him with a nervous gesture, Midoriya said, This is my new friend, Melissa Shield. She's a local to Island, and she was just showing me around the expo. Wait, back up a sec, Kurai said as he turned to look at the older girl a little more closely, now noticing her blue eyes and tall stature. Did you say Melissa Shield? As in David Shield? Uh-huh, the girl answered cheerily as the others gathered around them. He's my papa. Turning to Midoriya, she asked, Are these your friends from school, Deku? Yeah, they're all Hero Course students. Awesome, Melissa said with a charming smile as she took a few steps forward. Hi, everyone. It's really cool to meet people from out of town, especially future heroes. As she moved to greet the other girls, Kurai had to stifle a smile as he thought Akururi's head is going to explode when he finds out that Midoriya has been hanging out with David Shield's daughter. It's nice to meet you too, Yaoyorozu said as she offered a small wave in the way of greeting to Melissa, unaware of the bemusement of her other friend. I'm Momo Yaoyorozu from the Hero Course at UA. I'm Kyokujiro, the punk heroine said as she introduced herself. Name's Mina. Kurai's girlfriend said excitedly. She planted herself in front of a slightly surprised Melissa, grabbing her hands and saying, I gotta say, your hair is super pretty. How'd you get it so shiny? When Melissa began to speak to the other girls, Kurai moved to stand next to his friend and muttered, You've been here for what, 3 hours? And you're already making the girl swoon. He had a cheeky smile and an elbow to Midoriya's ribs, which set his friend into a beet-red, stuttering mess. I think I've been hanging around Mina too much. The group eventually decided to head over to a nearby cafe for some drinks, during which Melissa befriended Uraraka and the other girls without any trouble, much to the relief of Midoriya and by extension Kurai. While the girls chatted about their various experiences during their internships over the past semester, the two boys got themselves a table and placed their orders with a tablet that was built into the table. Once that was done, Kurai jerked a thumb over his shoulder to indicate Melissa and asked, So how did you end up on a date with David Shield's only daughter? It wasn't a date! Midoriya protested swiftly. Clapping his hand over his own mouth when he realized he had probably spoken too loudly, he then mumbled, I just happened to run into her in an exhibit, and we started talking hero stuff. Since her dad helped All Might a bunch when he was first becoming a pro, he's apparently been a close friend of hers ever since she was little. She calls him Uncle Might. Dang, that's pretty cool, actually, Kurai said, impressed. I guess since you want to be so much like him, I guess it'd be easy for you guys to get a conversation started, right? Yeah, something like that, Midoriya laughed nervously. For real, though, it wasn't a date. I know that, man. Kurai laughed. I guess me and this habit of teasing my friends has rubbed off on me. Yeah, I'd say so. Here you are, gentlemen, said a familiar voice as the drinks that they had ordered were placed on the table in front of them by the waiter. 2 icy drinks as requested. Kaminari? Midoriya asked in surprise as the two students looked up to see their friend dressed up in a black and white uniform and holding a serving tray. This is the restaurant you signed up to work for? Yeah. The electric boy nodded with an enthusiastic grin. I'm actually making some decent cash, plus there's always the chance that I'll get to hook up with one of the local... Hey, who's that? The boy stopped with a dumb look on his face as his gaze fell upon Melissa, who was in the middle of speaking to Jiro about her involvement in a hostage situation. Who, Melissa? Midoriya asked blankly. Dude! Kaminari exclaimed as he shook the green-haired boy by the shoulders. You know a high-voltage hottie like that one and you don't tell me? You're a terrible wingman! He's your wingman? Kurai snickered. Oh, are you another UA student? Melissa's voice injected itself into the conversation, causing all three boys to turn back toward the girls' table, Kaminari with a sly grin on his face. That's right, he said smoothly. I'm Denki, an up-and-coming top hero. Down, boy. If anybody's going to be a top hero around here, it's going to be those two, Jiro said bluntly as she pointed at Kurai and Midoriya, both of them flushing red while the electric boy's shoulders sagged. Why are you so mean? He asked plaintively, to which Jiro shrugged indifferently. Kaminari! Another familiar voice shouted from a few dozen yards away. Stop loafing around! You signed on for a job, not a tourist visa! If you don't give your all to this job, you're going to make our school look bad! Ida charged into the scene to stare down at his classmate with a stern gaze, who cowered in fear of the taller boy's armored physique. Ah, great, it's the fun police, Kurai muttered sarcastically, drawing Ida's frown toward him. Hey. I thought that you might have been in the shield exhibit with Akurui, the class rep replied frostily. Isn't he supposed to be with you? Come on, guys, not here. Midoriya begged them in earnest. It's summer break, can't we all just get along? In the background, Kurai was aware of Melissa asking Momo if there was something that she was missing, but tuned him out for the time being, keeping his eyes focused solely on his former best friend. When a moment of relative silence had passed between them, the smaller student eventually shrugged and said, We're meeting him there after lunch if you want to say hello. I rather think that I'll be busy, Ida answered. Doing what? Kurai smirked evilly. Getting that stick out of your— BOOM! An explosion and subsequent dust cloud billowed up from a nearby building that looked like some kind of an arena. Everyone at the cafe had their attention drawn to the noise, but it was Midoriya who asked, What's that? Some kind of obstacle course for pro heroes that want to test their skills. Kaminari informed them. I would have gone to check it out, but all my shifts are up during the hours they have it running. That sounds like fun, Mina said as she stood up from her seat excitedly. Let's go try it. But I just got this, Kurai complained as he held up his glass. After being rushed to finish his drink by his overexcited girlfriend, Kurai and the others made their way to the obstacle course, Ida and he doing their best to ignore each other's presence. When they came to the stands that overlooked the obstacle course, they were all surprised to see Kirishima emerging from a dust cloud, while a female announcer declared him in 8th place so far that day. While the dirt settled, Kurai took note of the terrain, which had been set up to mimic a small mountain with robots set up in various places. Apparently, the goal was to destroy all of the mechs as quickly as possible. The faster your clearing time, the higher your placing on the scoreboard. Is that Kachan? Midoriya asked as he pointed at a familiar figure, who was walking toward the starting zone. How'd he get here? Jiro asked with a slight frown. Hey guys! Kirishima called up while Bakugo took off, demolishing the robots with his usual starting speed and precision. Hi! Mina grinned as she waved to her old friend. I thought you weren't going to make it. Momo asked him, even as Bakugo blasted 3 bots to pieces in the background. Kirishima glanced up at Kurai for a split second before he answered, I won some passes in the lottery and dragged Bakugo along for the ride. By this time, the explosive boy had already finished his run, claiming the first place with the time of just over 15 seconds. I didn't know they had a lottery for this, Melissa mused. Before anyone could reply, Bakugo noticed his classmates in the stands, particularly Midoriya and Hikari. Gritting his teeth angrily, he blasted his way onto the stands, gripping the handrails that separated them from the audience, and shouted, Why the hell are you here, Deku? Giving a blistering glare to Kurai, he added, And why's Saiyaman here? I got passes for winning the sports festival, Hikari answered calmly. Midoriya got sponsored by the agency that did his internship. Bakugo, chill out! Kirishima called up. This behavior is unbecoming of a UA student! Ida added. I'm yours, you four-eyed loser! Why is that boy so angry? Melissa asked Uraraka. He and Deku are fated rivals. The heroine training replied seriously. He's also kind of a jerk, Mina added. Say that again, Raccoon Eyes, I dare— Finish that sentence. Kurai cut him off as he put himself between the explosive boy and his girlfriend, a dangerous look in his eyes. I dare you. Bakugo sneered at the boy that defeated him in the festival, leaping over the railing as he snarled, Oh yeah? If you're good enough to take me on, let's see you beat my time on the course. Done, Kurai replied confidently, and when I'm done, Midoriya can put you in third. Like hell he will! Do I get a say in this? Izuku asked nervously as Kurai and Bakugo began to butt heads. He was surprised when they both shouted, No! When his run was done, Midoriya actually almost outdid Bakugo, destroying all of the robots on the course in 16 seconds flat, much to the irritation of the explosive boy. As he railed against his classmate, Kurai moved forward with a confident smile to take his place at the starting zone, unclipping his sword from his belt and igniting it in anticipation of the announcer's signal that he could get started. Concentrating heavily, he willed his body to release more power, turning his hair orange and his eyes blue while the wind raced away from him. Instead of relying on sheer anger to fuel the ascension, he focused on a stream of memories tied to his core emotions. This was more mentally straining, and it did not produce the same staggering power that he had displayed in the USJ incident, but it also kept his brain from bleeding out whenever he amplified his abilities. Ready? Go! the announcer cried, sending him into motion. There were 10 robots that he needed to destroy, all of them scattered across the rocky terrain. Kurai's eyes had tracked each of them down before the allotted time began, and he knew exactly how to deal with each of them. Slashing his free arm through the air as he leaped toward one of the taller outcroppings, he sent a barrage of energon blasts that reduced 6 of the droids to scrap piles in seconds, all while he landed in front of another robot, swinging his sword downward in an arc that cut it clean in two. With cat-like speed, he rushed another duo of bots, taking out one with his sword and the other with an energy bolt. Spotting the last mech on the top of the mini-mountain, he sheathed the sword, cupped his hands by his side, and unleashed a Kamehameha laser at the pinnacle, blowing it to dust and finishing the obstacle course with another grin. 14.7 seconds! Ha! Kurai laughed as he leaped back into the starting point. I did beat him! Like hell! Bakugo screamed while Kirishima struggled to keep him up in the stands. I'm going to get him blasting his score to ash! Might want to wait on that. Kurai smirked as he pointed further back to the starting zone, where another familiar figure was walking in with a stoic expression. Hey, Todoroki. Hello, Hikari. His friend answered as they walked by each other. You set a high standard for the rest of us trying to compete today. Thanks, but I get the feeling that I'm about to get knocked off my pedestal. Kurai chuckled as he turned to watch the other student go into action. After all, we never did get a clear winner at the sports festival. I hardly think that a simple obstacle course like this is a substitute for the battle between the two of us. Todoroki replied coolly. True, but after the way my last sparring match turned out, I don't think Mr. Aizawa is about to let us settle that score. Kurai chuckled as he clapped his friend on the shoulder while walking past him. Good luck, pal. After Todoroki took his turn on the course, Kurai asked him if he would be attending the big gala later that night, to which he affirmed that he was. Upon hearing this, Kurai then asked, Would you care to join us at the party then? I don't see why not. The heterochromic boy answered neutrally. Cool, see you there. Akudori joined them shortly after they parted ways with Shoto, Kirishima, and Bakugo, and he just about swooned when he realized that he was getting to meet David Shield's daughter, who took his enamored approach in stride with a good-natured cheer. Well, the boy began peppering her with 101 questions about her father's work, as well as her own interest in the pursuit of hero support. Midoriya said in an aside to Kurai, Is that what I look like when I'm talking about All Might? Not at all, Kurai said with a light grin. Yeah, you're way more of a dork, Midoriya. Mina giggled at as the green-haired boy's face fell. Once the sun had begun to set, the group broke up so that each of them could go to their hotels in order to change into their dress clothes. Ida told them to be in the lobby at no later than 6:30, which Kurai knew was not going to happen, given how much he knew Mina wanted to look perfect for such an outing. We'll just be a little late, he decided with an absent shrug. He and Akudori spent a little time making sure that their dress clothes were in good condition while Mina stayed up in her room to do her makeup. Kurai was wearing a blue blazer and an orange tie while his brother donned a similar outfit, although with a white necktie. When the elder sibling decided to stash his photon sword inside of his jacket, his brother paused and asked him what he was doing. The security here is on par with Tartaros, he told Kurai. I can't imagine that we're going to encounter any trouble on this island, so why do you need that? There's going to be a few pros of the gala that I want to talk to about possible improvements for the design, he answered with a shrug, causing Akudori to frown heavily. Are you saying my design is bad? He muttered. Not at all. Kurai answered with a negative shake of his head. But you can only make a design based on materials that you already know about. If I get a chance to learn more, it could help us improve the design, even if only a little. Oh, the younger brother said, mollified. Alright, that makes sense. But I won't be able to make much out of anything we learn until tomorrow. That's fine. Hey, guys! Mina said as the door slid open. Sorry I took so long. No problem. Kurai stopped talking as he beheld his girlfriend in her chosen attire for the gala. She had dressed up in a strapless sky blue dress that went halfway down her calves, and had glitter dusting the lower hem. On her feet was a pair of matching heels, complete with the glitter effect. Holy crap, she's hot, he thought dumbly. You like it? She grinned as she noticed his blank stare. If you liked it any more, I'd be trying to kiss you myself, Akudori said dryly. To his brother, he added, Shut your mouth before you drool a puddle. You look great, he finally managed to say after he smacked his brother on the head. Really great. Not so bad yourself, handsome. She giggled, which set his face to blushing a little, but he had been getting accustomed to her flirtations over the last semester. Instead of his brain completely shutting off from sheer embarrassment, he returned the smile and held out his arm for her to loop hers through. Ready to head out, my lady? He asked her with a hint of a lordly accent flavoring his words. But of course, good sir, she replied in kind. Ugh, gag me, Akudori grumbled. The three of them arrived at the lobby where they were set to meet up with the others about 30 minutes after Ida had told them to be there, and Kurai was more than a little surprised to find that only the class rep, Todoroki, and Kaminari were present. Here I thought we were being fashionably late, he said with a slight grin. There's nothing fashionable about being late, Ida exclaimed, though he seemed more upset at the lack of attendance from everyone instead of just being cross with Kurai specifically. Does a proper meeting time mean nothing to you people? His dark blue suit was a little rumpled, likely from an extended period of time spent pacing with his arms crossed. Yo, Todoroki, Mina said as she approached the half-and-half boy. That suit looks sharp on you. He was dressed in a white suit with a blue shirt and a red tie that befitted the gala. Kaminari was still in his work outfit, but since it was a black and white vest set with a complete bow tie, it was acceptable for the event. Before Kurai could approach the electric boy, he heard the door opening up behind him, so he turned to see Midoriya walking in, dressed in a red suit, followed soon after by Uraraka and the other girls, all of them dressed in their best getup, or rather Yajirozu's best getup, as she had apparently provided the dresses. Seeing Uraraka's pink ballroom outfit, Kurai grinned and nudged Midoriya with his elbow as he said, "You should ask her to dance later. Bet you'd make her night." You think so? Izuku stammered nervously. I think it'll probably make your night too. Kurai chuckled as the gravity girl approached them with a shy smile. Hi, Deku, she said as Kurai moved away to greet Yajirozu. Glad to see you here, he said as he shook hands with her and Jiro, who was sporting a dress that still managed to keep with the girl's usual punk theme. Me too, Yajirozu admitted. I often attend dinner functions like this one, but this is the first time I get to go with friends. I'm looking forward to it. That makes two of us, he grinned at her. You don't strike me as the kind of guy that enjoys suit and tie events, Jiro said. We don't, but Dad's the police commissioner, Akuru explained as he approached. We've been to a few events here and there. At least we know the routine, Kurai pointed out. Yeah, I can't wait to see you and your girlfriend bite it when it comes to the dance part of the night, his brother smirked. Laugh it up, buddy, Kurai thought as he turned away to hide his own smile. Akuru didn't know that Mina was an expert dancer, and further that she had been teaching Kurai how to move to the beat of the music, sometimes against his will. Wow, Mina, Uraraka exclaimed, drawing Kurai's attention as she approached the pink girl. That's a nice look for you. Where'd you get an outfit like that? Off to the side, Midoriya was smiling with a hint of a blush on his face, so Kurai resolved to ask his friend about what went on sometime later. I got it after Kurai asked me to come here with him, since I knew there was going to be a big dinner party, she admitted. My mom helped me pick it out and everything. Sorry I'm late, everyone, another familiar voice called as the door slid open again. As Melissa jogged over to meet them, Jiro pumped Kaminari with a sound burst when he started ogling the blonde girl in her blue and white dress, causing him to collapse on the floor with a pitiful whine. I guess the only people that were missing are Bakugo and Kirishima, Yajirozu noted as she looked around the lobby. Does anyone know where they are? I tried calling them, but they won't answer, Ida grumbled. Bet you anything they got lost, Akudori snickered. They don't strike me as very good when it comes to directions. Before anyone could take him up on the bet, alarms began to sound, and metal shutters slammed down in front of the doors, putting all the students on edge. Unconsciously, Ida and Kurai moved to stand back to back in anticipation of whatever danger might come their way. Attention Island, a female automated voice announced out of multiple speakers. We have received security and noticed that there is an explosive device somewhere on the Expo grounds. As a result, the entire area will go into high alert mode. Residents have 10 minutes to get inside the buildings for their own safety. Anyone outside after the allotted time will be in violation of the law. Elevator's out and my phone isn't working, Akudori said as he checked both devices, looking troubled. This is really weird, Melissa said, drawing the attention of her new friends as the alarms died away. High alert mode isn't what's supposed to happen if there's a bomb discovered. What's supposed to happen? Kurai asked as he and Ida distanced themselves from one another. It doesn't matter, Midoriya said as he stepped forward. We need to get to the party. I don't think fine dining should be on our list of priorities right now, Kaminari said nervously as he continued to glance around their surroundings. No, All Might and the other pros are there, Midoriya explained. We need to stay close to them just in case something weird is going on. The elevator's out, though, Ida said. Thanks, Captain Obvious, Kurai said flatly. Before the engine quirk boy could retort, Melissa pointed down the hall and said, There's the emergency stairs. They'll get us to the party. Then let's go, Todoroki muttered as he took the lead, with Yajirozu and Jiro close behind him. We need to find out what's going on before trouble finds us. What makes you think that the trouble will find us? Melissa asked. You really have no idea what goes on with my brother's class, do you? Akudori asked her, his smile strained with fear. They're like trouble magnets.
So, I initially thought about stretching this chapter out a little bit more, honestly, because I thought it might be kind of fun to have like another fluff chapter, but I felt like if I didn't start it off with some danger toward the end, it would feel like just another filler chapter, and I didn't really want to do too many of those in succession.
Okay. Yeah, so we start out, they get to the island, and
Akuru is being a wolf.
Is in rare form.
Oh my! That's not rare form. That's vintage Akuru. That's like how he is like during the middle of the day all the time.
Yeah. and he's, his parents didn't even have to put him up to it. He's
Nope.
just enjoying it.
Well, that's what makes it worse. So like, so I'm the oldest of three. I don't have older brothers, so I'm kind of doing some guesswork on like how a younger sibling would go about this kind of thing if he had these kind of tools at his disposal. Kind of basing this off of some of my interactions with my brothers. So I'm hoping that I'm doing this all right. She thinks it's pretty funny.
Oh yeah, it totally reminds me of when we were dating and your younger brothers were around. Mom, they're doing it again. It's okay. It's like
we're like holding hands or something, and John runs up and is like, ew, gross!
Yeah, well, hey, it's okay because I paid him back tenfold with his wife, and I do that to him still.
Yep.
And they're married and
Yep.
having, never mind. Anyway, moving on. They meet up with everybody at the.
Kurai's trying to, they meet up at the Shield exhibit. Kurai's kind of trying to run some interference for Deku because he's like, oh no, Uraraka is gonna, someone needs to step in.
Yeah, so it's like, hey guys.
He's trying to give Deku a way to explain himself out.
Yeah.
I don't know if he made it more awkward or not, but
I feel like asking that would make it more awkward.
Well, he didn't ask like, are you on a date with this girl? Until
I didn't know you brought someone.
Yeah. He was like, I didn't know you brought a guest, but that gave Deku the opportunity to be like,
no, we just met. We're good. I promise.
Yep.
And then, everyone goes out to eat. Oh, Akurui meets. He doesn't meet her yet.
Yeah, he does, but that comes like a little bit later in the chapter.
Melissa Shield, I should say.
Melissa Shield.
Later they meet, but they're at lunch.
And then Ida shows up, and him and Kurai kind of start butting heads. Deku's like, can we not do this right now? So like they're like, at least they're not like, I'm like they're at the point where they're not like wanting to punch each other.
Yeah, they're just being.
They're just
Yeah, they're salty.
Yep. There are a couple of saltines.
Thankfully, though, they are interrupted by the explosion, and so they can go check out the obstacle course.
Yep, they see Kirishima and Bakugo, and Jiro asks Kirishima, she's like, "Hey, I thought you guys weren't going to be able to make it." And Kirishima and Kurai are kind of like keeping it on the DL that he gave them tickets. So Kirishima's like, "Nah, I just want him in the lottery." So I thought that I don't think Kurai and Kirishima are going to be like besties at any point, but they're starting to build.
They're pals.
They're starting to build a solid rapport here. I think.
Yeah.
Which I've enjoyed doing.
Definitely. No, I love Kirishima.
Oh, yeah.
But it's also good that Kirishima can be a friend to Bakugo because Bakugo just needs a friend. He's a brat. He needs a friend.
Yep. He doesn't know how to have friends.
Have the obstacle course, and then Todoroki.
Todoroki showed up. So a little bit of fun fact for you guys. I'm not going to put this in the physical format on fanfiction.net, but Kurai's pastime was 14.7 seconds. If you guys go and watch the movie, Todoroki's pastime, I believe, was a flat 14 seconds. So that bit when they're kind of like, maybe this would be a way for us to figure out who would have won the sports festival, Todoroki beat him by almost a full second. So it's kind of like, maybe he would have won if they kept going. Now, I know who would have won, but I'm not telling you guys.
Brad.
Yeah, because I gotta play some cards close to the chest. But yeah, that was kind of a fun scene to have everybody meeting up together, throwing a little bit of a competition in there. And then after that, we've got them getting ready for the party. At first Akurui thinks that his brother's dissing him because he's going to take the sword to show some people. And then Kurai's like, no, I'm trying to help you here.
Yeah, because these guys are aware of the latest research and they could probably give us some good advice. So.
Yep. And then, so they meet up. They all meet up, and then, of course, that's when the trouble begins. And something that I included in there that was small, but I felt was very important, was that as soon as the alarms go off, Ida and Kurai both go back to back. They're watching they're on guard for each other.
Because they're bugged at each other, but they're still brothers.
Yeah.
And they still depend on each other.
Even if they're like,
hard times.
Yeah. It's like they know that, it's like, even if it's not conscious, they know that they can rely on each other to help keep themselves and everybody else safe.
Yeah.
So it's like this argument between them is not petty. They both have good reasons for being angry at each other. But underneath all that, there's still that camaraderie between them, and it would take a lot more than what happened to actually break that, I think.
Yeah. So they're gonna have to just at times.
For those of you that are hoping that there will be some reconciliation between Kurai and Ida, if there is going to be this would be the start of it.
Okay.
And we'll get to more of that in the next few chapters. This arc is going to take another 4 or 5 chapters to be completed. Around which time, so this is kind of fortunate. So the movie arc will basically be ending by the time the 1 year mark comes around for this story, which I'm kind of excited about. But yeah, there's going to be some hurting involved. When I first pitched this next part to her, she's like, "No, why would you do that?"
It hurts me. It hurts me. Yeah, and I think the only thing left to address is that Akurui, like, he's a kid. He's he's like
you see
everyone
that
else
at the very
like
end.
they're trained to deal with tense situations like this.
Well,
But he's
not
kinda
even
freaked
like
out.
it's more than just them being trained. It's like they like already went through a pretty freaky life and death situation, so they've already been like hardwired to be like, all right, there's danger happening. What do we do? Let's think
they're
this out.
problem solving, and he's just in shock. He's like, "Whoa, I've never dealt with something like this before."
He kind of helped them do some problem solving, but at the same time, like he's freaked out.
He's
It's
a
like,
kid.
yeah, I think his attitude kind of makes it hard to forget that he's 12 years old. He's like in middle school.
And like, granted, they're all kids.
Yeah.
But it's like it's different because
Like,
they've all.
He doesn't have the training. He hasn't been through those same experiences, so he's freaking out.
Yeah.
It's like so, but yeah, but he's still going to continue to be one of the main characters of this next arc. How's that going to happen? Well, you guys have to wait a couple weeks to find out because I'm mean like that. But everybody that reviewed, thank you so much for your questions, comments, and concerns. I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys say for the next one. And let's see, I had something else in there. Must not have been that important, I guess. Sorry.
I'm gonna go make cookies.
You're gonna go make cookies? All right. Well, I hope everybody who sees this has a happy Valentine's Day, and I hope you guys enjoyed the artwork that I put up for this chapter because it's a Valentine's meant for everybody. Stay plus ultra. I'm out.